Oh man, it's so nice to be back on this truck. I got so much work to do on this stupid thing, man. Got turbo, I gotta mount the battery, gaskets everywhere. I got the heater core to finish. And I mean, what are we gonna do about the dash? I'm saying, well, what the hell are you guys doing? We got work to do, let's go. So, welcome back to the channel, guys. Today, as you can tell, we're gonna get hopping back on the second gen and get just a little bit more work done on this bad boy. I had a couple of people that were super interested in this build and seeing it follow through and wanted some updates and things like that on the truck. I had about a week or two there where I just really wasn't interested in the build. I'd been kind of burnt out by it, so hope you guys can understand that. I do have a couple things I have been working on in the background without you guys. That might explain kind of my burnout a little bit more, but I got a couple surprises and well, I got some explaining to do. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, so if you notice the scenery change, the last time you saw this truck, it was sitting right here. So a lot of things have changed since the last video. I had another video actually planned about a week or two after that last video came out. And well, things didn't work out the way that I wanted it to. Things are going just a little bit slower on a certain project that I have for this truck. I haven't really hinted it towards you guys. I know a couple of people on my social media. You guys will know what I'm talking about, but I've got some serious explaining to do. And well, guys, part of that explaining has to do with, well, the interior of the truck. And you're probably wondering, you haven't even finished the engine. You haven't finished putting the gaskets in and everything else. What the hell could you possibly have been working on in the interior? Well, let me show you. So, the lighting isn't going to be great, guys, and I apologize for that. But as you can see, as much of a shocker as this probably is, this is a 2012 Dodge Ram Dash that I've been secretly retrofitting into this 520,000 mile second gen Cummins. And well, it's given me a lot of problems. So I could be the guy that just tells you how smooth this is going and, you know, it's waiting on parts and that's why it's taking so long. But really, it's just a lot of custom fab, and I haven't done a second gen to fourth gen dash swap ever. I've done the third gens and they bolt right in. So I wanted to try to tackle this, and I seen at least one other guy on Facebook on the groups that has tackled this, and well, I wanted to be the second. A bird just flew into my shop. So what ended up really happening was the second gen dash in this truck, the 2001, obviously the newer generation dash, one of the worst they made. The dash itself is broke, that's kind of a given, you know, especially with the mileage. Well, the problem lies where the dash core itself, what holds your heater controls, you know, the radio, everything else, was just destroyed. There was nothing really to mount a new dash on. And if you guys know me, I like to do the new LMC dashes, the real dash, the real actual replacement dash, not just the covers and stuff like that. So at the end of the day, I was going to be probably $1,500 or more having to source a new dash core, a new dash top, and at the end of the day, I'd just end up with a second gen dash. So what I ended up actually doing instead is I went to the junkyard, and well, while I was there, I was actually searching for a couple of interior parts for this truck. I had no intentions of doing this swap, but it's a rarity in my yards local to me that there is anything fourth gen related in them. So whenever I went there and just so happened upon this fourth gen dash, well, plans changed. So you're probably asking yourself, why exactly did I choose to do the fourth gen dash over a replacement second gen? Obviously I stated the amount of money it was going to take, but is that really what convinced me? No. The real thing that convinced me on this dash swap was the fact that not only is it a fourth gen dash, but it can't re-crack. You're not going to have any more issues out of it, and obviously it's going to be different than everybody else. As a couple of you OGs may know, in the Dakota video, this third gen Ram was actually retrofitted with this fourth gen Laramie dash. I plan to put this back in. Big old story behind this I'm not going to get into, but this truck has to go through a salvage vehicle inspection through Highway Patrol. So had to put all the factory parts back on it, or parts that I have receipts for, etc., so I can get that approved. So the third gen dash went back in for a little bit. So whenever I get done with Highway Patrol, we'll slap that back in. But the moral of the story, and the reason why I'm telling you this fourth gen dash was already plugged right into the third gen. And if you don't know this, they bolt right in. Any dash from like 2009 up until the new 2024 classics, obviously not the 5th gen, but the 4th gen style, will bolt right into your 3rd gen Dodge Ram. Why am I saying this? Well, because it does not bolt into your 2nd gen Ram. A lot of people were wondering, is it similar between the two, including me? And I will be the first to tell you, no. So on the 3rd gens, you have pretty much all bolt holes left over. You have one over here, one over there, a couple in here, and obviously the ones on top. Well, the majority in the 3rd gens will bolt right up. The cab design itself, which is weird, is the same. You don't have to cut the dash, you don't have to do anything special to it. You literally just take the dash out of a 4th gen, bolt it right in. The only thing you have to figure out past that is obviously your heater controls, how you're going to fit your gauge cluster and things like that, radio, etc. But with the 2nd gen, you're starting with a truck that didn't even have an idea that the 4th gen existed when this truck was designed. With that in mind, it is horrible to try to get this thing retrofitted in here. As you guys see it, it's really not permanent. It may look good in there. There's one bolt holding it in on that side, and honestly, what I call the dash cage is zip tied to the firewall. Really just to get some measurements, figure out where I needed to cut, because honestly, the last video that I was supposed to release to you guys was me putting this dash in. But obviously it took so long and there was so much modification that was still needed that I didn't think the one video, 45 minutes, and me not being done with the dash swap was going to be very entertaining. So in this video, we're not going to be really touching on this. I've got a few more things to do before I'm ready to tackle this situation, but obviously there's a lot more we could do with this truck. So today I have to finish a few more things that I didn't finish in the last of the videos. What did I not finish in the last of the videos? Well, I'm here to tell you. Obviously, if you guys remember in the last video, you've seen it probably a lot sooner than I have. This entire setup here was very temporary. All reused gaskets. I think I even have a cardboard gasket made out for the oil feed line on the turbo. I'm not sure where it's down there. But needless to say, we're not done quite yet with this side of the truck. Obviously, we've got a heater cord to do, finish the dash, things like that. But as you guys remember, my fender's not even bolted in. I've got a ratchet strap holding my battery. I've only got one good headlight in it. And honestly, this thing has been disgusting since the day we got it. So I think today we might go ahead and try to clean it up. I already cleaned up a little bit of the driver's floorboard, just trying to make it look a little bit better before I started this because it was god awful. But before we get really getting into this dash swap, I think it would be nice if our environment was nice and clean, so we're getting ready for it. But obviously before that, I want to go ahead and finish up this area here. So once we're done here, we can focus purely on the dash and we don't have to worry about what's going on here. It also definitely has nothing to do with the fact that whenever I removed the 2nd gen dash on this truck and inserted the 4th gen dash, I lost all my grounds. So the truck doesn't start anymore. But anyways, we got a lot more to do today, so let's get started. All right, so obviously one of the first things I'm going to go ahead and get started with is removing the ratchet strap. Hopefully it didn't ruin my fender while I did this, but I needed this to go down here because the battery's been falling out of the truck ever since I did this job. So, all right, ratchet strap removed. The battery. Oh, my poor back. Oh. Deep cycle battery, just want to point that out. Not a regular battery, that's why it's so heavy. Okay. I'm not even gonna do it right, I'm just gonna do it fast. I ain't here to do it right, I'm here to get it done. And if you guys are wondering, well, why did I put this thing in the garage? Doesn't seem a bit inconvenient that I have another truck on my ass. Well, no, sun isn't hitting me as bad. Whenever you guys aren't recording, I got the fan going behind me, and honestly, it's a lot better for the bugs and things like that. I've been getting sunburned like hell every time I get up here, so this is a big upgrade for me, guys. And if you guys are also wondering why I didn't do this any sooner than I did, well, the reason for that is, if you guys can't already tell, in a couple of videos before, I think I showed my Mitsubishi 3000 GT that was sat over here in the corner. I ended up getting rid of that car, so I'm finally able to bring cars that I actually need to work on in my shop, which is kind of nice. Kind of sucks spending a lot of money on a shop, house, etc., and you got all these cars and the specific ones that you're working on, you can't even put in the shop that you paid for to work on. Alright, I'm going to set you guys up on a time lapse. I doubt you want to sit here for 30 minutes and watch me do this, so let me get that set up for you. Alrighty, so got the turbo off. Gonna clean a couple of those flanges. I gotta replace the gaskets, obviously, on those. I'm probably gonna cut down the oil fill line a little bit and make that look a little bit nicer. Clean some stuff up. You guys are curious. The fix still looks good. Everything's looking all right. I got one spot over there. I think I might throw some JB weld on just in case. Otherwise, no leaks as of yet. Everything seems to be doing just fine. I need to fix the heater core and stuff like that before we, really get into it. But overall, guys, I think we're just gonna go ahead, throw everything back together, get all the new gaskets in, and yeah, so here's a time lapse. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we got pretty much everything back together. I had an insane time trying to find an 11mm nut to replace this one that I lost. I know that the spring is gone. I will end up ordering another V-clamp. It'll be alright for now. It's all in. So, whoever was telling me, there was quite a few people in the social media post that I made that was commenting on the fact that the truck was loping or it sounded like valve train issues. It's not. I've had this disconnected since I started this build. It's the first time I had it reconnected, as I just got the brand new O-ring to go inside of it. So, new O-ring, new oil drain gasket underneath here, new manifold gasket for the turbo. I did end up reusing the downside turbo manifold gasket. It's probably the wrong name for that, but I'm going to say it anyways with confidence. So, really, last thing we got to do is we got to throw on the oil filter, tighten everything up, make sure everything is torqued down, and then we can start putting the fender back on this truck for good. We got to do the headlights. I also wanted to try and swap over the battery terminals to the opposite sides because I have two batteries that I think will do really well in this truck. I just need to swap the sides. So this is done for now. At least I do not have to worry about doing this again. So cool. Okay guys, update time. So everything's been installed. I ended up having to remove this because I ran the negative wire under that boot, and then this was the easiest thing to remove to get there. I did end up putting kind of what I would call almost like a race spacer in between here instead of this spring. I noticed when I went to go and remove this, I was damn near to the very end of the threads at this point, but without it being tightened, and I couldn't get the socket on it very well, so went ahead and threw one of those on there. Brought this negative cable back up. Like I said before, I'm trying to bring it over here so I can revert the battery connections. So as you see, that battery is obviously negative on that side, positive on that side. The new batteries that I have are opposite. So I'm gonna try my best at bringing those around. I know the ground wire on that side is gonna have to be extended, but for now, it's a good first start. Got everything pretty much where it needs to be. A couple of wires just need to look a little better. It's pretty much about the end of it. Everything's plugged in. The headlight harness as well needs to go in for these headlights. So I need to probably either remove those or destroy my hand and try to get in there. To be fair with you, I probably should have done that before I put the battery tray in, but it's it's in there. Overall happy with the progress so far. I think the next thing that we're gonna do right after this is I've got to clean this interior up a bit. It's been killing me since I got the truck. I vacuumed this one side a little bit and it actually looks way better. I don't think I'm gonna be using the carpet out of this truck. This thing's like caked mud all through this carpet. If I do, I'm gonna remove it and take it to the car wash first. But yeah, so game plan, we're gonna finish that up. I just want to make sure that the battery and everything is going to mount the way that I want it to. And like I said, put the headlight harness in. I've also got the air box to throw in there. Otherwise, I mean, it's pretty much ready to roll. The only thing I should have to do in the engine bay after this is run new coolant lines for the heater core whenever I do end up replacing the heater core. I haven't done it yet because, like I said, I've got that whole dash thing going on. So haven't pulled the HVAC out yet because I haven't made a permanent dash to go in it yet. So when the dash is basically ready to bolt in, it's mocked up, everything looks good, we'll remove it one more time, put the heater core in, do the box, etc. And try to get away hopefully without having to do any blend doors or anything like that. So let me go ahead, I'm gonna go and slap this headlight harness in. I don't think it belongs to anything else. It should just be the headlight harness for this passenger side. Passenger fender's all bolted in finally. That's the first time since we've gotten it. As you can tell, I kind of beat it up a little bit through all the times that I've removed it. So we'll have to touch that up a bit, probably wet sand it down and make it look a little better if we really care about it. Otherwise, everything is starting to look pretty good. As I mentioned before, we got the turbo all cleaned up with the wire wheel and it looks fantastic. We also cleaned up the oil drain line down there, got those fittings all cleaned up, mounted that, the oil sandwich plate, that's what I'm gonna call it, oil filter sandwich plate. It's really just the oil filter housing. Everything should be good in there. We did reuse the gasket on there. I think I might recheck all the torque on the bolts for those. I didn't have a problem with it leaking so far, so we're gonna try to reuse it. I cleaned up the surface and it looked good, so gonna go ahead and do that. Other than that, guys, and doing the battery situation, which we're gonna try to figure out here in a minute, I think I'm gonna hop over to the interior and we're gonna try to clean this thing up at least a little bit, get some shine on it, and see what we're working with. I know for a fact eventually I'm gonna end up having to pull that headliner. It is just god awful. The only reason it's still in there right now, well, that's because I am already pulling the dash in and out of this truck, and I would rather not have to put another one in. I've been basically destroying it, pulling this dash in and out of here. So once that's done, we'll slap a new headliner in it, so don't worry about that, guys. If anybody was wondering what it looks like in here with the 4th gen dash, obviously this is nowhere near complete, but this is what we've got so far. Obviously the security module and everything. And like I said, guys, this thing is not gonna start right now. The entire reason is there's literally one bolt from the dash cage bolted in to the side of the truck cab or the firewall. It's not even actually bolted in, it's just set in there to kind of bring placement to the dash. And the rest of it is just held on by zip ties right now so I can begin to build mounts. So with that being said, what that means is the ground wires for the dash and the electronics for the dash, which control the security module and other things like that, they don't have connection. There's no ground in the dash anymore. And there's at least 2 main grounds. I believe there's actually 3 main grounds through the harness for the dash. And without those being actually grounded, the truck obviously is not going to start. And another thing that I wanted to get done while we were in this whole interior situation is I already got the door panel put into that side for the passenger side. I need to put the driver's side in. There's no reason this shouldn't be in here. The window's in, everything else is in, the mirror, etc. Everything's gonna stay. So we can go ahead and take the driver's door panel off of our parts door and slap it on here. I also know, I totally forgot. So this is the reason that my door panel is still off. The door handles, I need those off of those doors because they have the locks for the keys that I have. So need to go and pull those off, slap that in at least the driver's side, and then we can put the door panel on and at least get that looking a little better while we're trying to clean things up around here. Alrighty, so with your 8mm on, pull that off, and you should be able to, oh, oops. Got one, and I don't want this mount, so we are going to remove it. And guys, we've got the 3rd one in this bracket. Obviously you can barely see it, it's really rusty, but pull that bracket piece off. little clip you've got to retrieve in here. Okay guys, so I mentioned in another clip that the ground wires were causing an issue with the truck to where the security system, etc., wasn't powering on because of the grounds on the dash. Well, I was wrong. I ended up not tightening the bolt on the main harness plug, and I'll show you what I'm talking about in a second, all the way, and it didn't complete connection. So I'll be the first to tell you, she's trying to start just fine. And what I meant by the bolt on the main connection, if you go down here, you'll see that's a 10mm bolt that goes to the main wiring harness for the dash. I didn't have that bolted in all the way, so it wasn't making a complete connection. That was why the truck wasn't starting. So disregard the ground wires on the dash. Those should mainly be for things like the radio, the dash, or the actual cluster and things like that. But with this, we are going to be able to complete our door handle swap. Got our windows back, which is good news. So we got that right on the extension cord. Perfect. All right, let's get in there. So actually putting it in wasn't as hard as pulling them out. So now I have an unlock, a lock, and I went ahead. If you don't have one of these, grab one of these, especially if you work on cheap crap like I do that use the little door cards with the little snap clips. So went ahead, replaced all of those on the new door panel. I'll slap this over here, and slap on the door panel. For those who were wondering if I cleaned up the door real quick, I did. I actually ended up cleaning out the insane amount of glass that was in this door. If you guys remember, it didn't come with a piece of glass because it was broke off the parts truck. So yeah, we're gonna clean up the bottom just a little bit more with this rag here. I'm gonna slap this bad boy on. It should be done right about now that we have a door panel installed. Good. I do have to find the switch cover. I don't know where that is, but I can find it. Go ahead, you guys. Let's start now that I know it'll run. All the oil lines are connected. Ooh, actually, I lied to myself. Now that we got the oil cooler feed line all tightened up, let's give her a crank. I do forget how smoky this makes the room. There you go, guys. Alrighty, and as I mentioned before, the last thing that we're going to do today is we're going to be cleaning out at least the base of the truck. I can't get back here, which kind of sucks. I'm going to try to do the best I can because this door doesn't want to open. And also the handle's off this, and I want to clean it under here before I reinstall it so I can pull it back and then get behind here and get this stupid handle to work. So regardless, we're going to get this thing cleaned up, shine it up a little bit, And maybe the next time that I come in here, I'll actually want to finish this dash. Well, we're all done getting her cleaned up for today. I think it turned out all right. Mind that's some cleaning supplies on the carpet. Trying to get some mold out of there right now. I still think we're going to replace the carpet, but either way, try to get some of that mold out for right now. Do some interior detailer on the door panels. They look fantastic. You can tell what it looked like before on the edge. I didn't get the edge, so way better shine on this stuff. It's looking really good. Got the bolt in there. You guys noticed I went ahead and fixed each bolt in there with some washers. It's on there good now. We finally have the handle for the recline section of the seats, so I should be able to get back here sooner than later and be able to fix this door and get that door panel back on. But we got the seat vacuumed, everything else vacuumed. The carpet looks all right. It's actually got a lot less mold than it did before, which is good. This side looking pretty good. I know it's dark out there, sorry guys, didn't turn the light on before I did this, but nice and clean over here, not too bad. I do need to get to the back. I did notice that I would have to pull the truck out in order to get to the back seat, so we'll do that again. But right now I'm telling you, it smells 10 times better already. It doesn't smell nearly as much like a cow field. So got the steering wheel all cleaned up. Casing around there looks good. The dash, sprayed a little bit of the dash. Didn't have a whole lot to finish, but went ahead and sprayed the dash a bit. We are going to be painting this dash eventually, so don't be too concerned about what it looks like right now. Clean the cluster up. I am also going to be taking apart this cluster and cleaning inside of here eventually, so all in due time. I'm not concerned about it. But we can now see the floor. All of our extra parts are in the passenger seat, which is also clean. We've got a couple extras in the back. That's mostly just the second gen original parts. So next video you guys see on this thing should be continuing on this dash. Well, I appreciate you guys watching the video, taking a look at my channel, possibly liking and subscribing if you liked the video. And as I was saying earlier, on the next video, we're going to get more in depth on the 4th gen dash swap on this 2nd gen Dodge Ram. I'm going to be finishing it off, hopefully with some new brackets, getting everything welded. And if you guys haven't noticed, I saved the old dash for a certain reason. You're going to need some brackets off of that 2nd gen dash, so if you're doing this swap, don't get rid of it just yet. I'll be here to show you where you need to put those and how to get that 4th gen dash to look right. But at the end of the day, guys, on this video, we were able to get the interior clean on the truck, mold out of it, which is always a benefit. We were able to get all of the gaskets replaced, get the turbo remounted, get everything permanently mounted, the battery back in, and a bonus that I didn't even expect, we got the truck to start because of my own fault on leaving a main harness connection loose. And you guys got a sneak peek on that 4th gen dash swap I'm working on. So really happy with the progress today. Like I said, not too much of an informational video. There was no real plot line on this one today, guys. But like I said, a lot of you guys wanted to know where we were at on the build. So there you have it. These videos aren't going to be stopping anytime soon. We got a lot of work to do on this 2nd gen Ram, as well as, like I said, 3rd gen. So if old Dodge shit boxes are your thing, this might be the channel for you. As always, if you guys like the video, like, subscribe, and I'm so excited to get started on this truck for the next video. Today has re-piqued my interest in this build, especially getting it cleaned. I know that wasn't a big thing for you guys, but for me, rolling around in all that crap and not really knowing what it was a big deal. So now that it's clean, I see it for the clean slate that it is. We've got the engine all buttoned up and ready to roll. I cannot wait to get started and get that 4th gen dash swap finished.